What's up, guys? Welcome back to another edition of K-Cards Baseball. Thanks for joining me tonight. Hopefully you all are doing wonderful out there this evening. Tonight on the channel, we're going to dive back into this box of vintage cards that I have. As you guys probably know, I bring some cards with me when I travel, and we are in beautiful Bemidji, Minnesota. I've made a few videos tonight highlighting Bemidji, and it is an absolutely beautiful place. We're at Rutgers Lodge in Bemidji, so if you ever get a chance to get up to northern Minnesota in the Bemidji area, I highly recommend this place. A really cool place. But tonight on the channel, we are going to get into this box and see what we can find. A couple weeks ago, I did pull some 1973's baseball out of this box, and we went through it and we kind of sorted it out, and I did put several of those cards up for sale, and they actually did really well. So I wanted to go back into this box and see what we can find. I think there are some 74s in here. Yeah, here's some 74s. So what I think I'll do is we'll pull these 74s out of this box, see what's in here, and possibly pick some out for sale. So let's fast forward through here and pull out these 1974 Topps baseball cards. Alrighty, guys, we are back. We did pull out these 73s. There aren't too many of them. I thought there was quite a few more, but there isn't that many of them, so hopefully we get through them kind of quick. I would expect most of these to be commons. If you find any Hall of Famers in here, that would be a huge bonus. I really like the 1974 set, to be honest. After I finish my 71 set, I'm considering either going with the 72s and trying to work on that set, or the 74 set, because I like both of those sets. The only issue that we have with these 74s, you can see quite a bit of miscut that we do have on the 74s. You can see all this edge over here on this particular Joe List card. You can see it's pretty much off center, like 98-2. But that is a pretty consistent problem with the 74s. But I really like the design of the 74s. They're really a nice design. There's another miscut card, but that is the consistent problem that we have with the 74 set, is the fact that they are mostly miscut. There's an Oakland A's Dick Green. Never heard of Dick Green. Bob Watson, heard of him many times. He was a good player back in the day. I think he was primarily a DH. Don Money with the Brewers. Longtime Brewer Don Money was a good player. I think he was a third baseman with the Brewers, if I remember right. It's hard to remember back 50 years ago now and see what that's all about. 73 World Series, New York against the Oakland A's. This is Game 7. Or Game 2. This is actually Game 2 from the 73 World Series. Oakland, I think, won that World Series. Oakland won 3 World Series in a row from 72 to 74 when Reggie Jackson was absolutely killing it at that time. He was the Aaron Judge of the early 70s. There's another Phil Roof card. Most of these cards are actually in pretty decent shape. There's Joe Niekro, brother to Phil Niekro. I don't think he made to the Hall of Fame. Phil, I think, is in the Hall of Fame. Again, you can see this one's off center, like 98-2, right to left. John Mayberry was a really good player for the Royals for the for the 1970s. Don Baylor, there's a really nice card. He played a long time. He actually won a World Series with the Twins in 1987. He came in a late season trade, the late July season trade, and was the DH for the Twins during that particular World Series run. He probably should have got more consideration for the Hall of Fame because he was a pretty dominant player as a DH. I don't know how close he was to 500 home runs. I'll have to look it up. I'll probably post it on the overlay, and you guys can see how many home runs he had. Jack McKean is in there. Reggie Cleveland. I know we do probably have some Hall of Famers in here, because I know at the back half of this I do have some. Jim Fregosi, there you go. He was a player back then, but he is known for being the Philadelphia Phillies longtime manager. I think he coached a few other teams as well. There's a checklist, an unmarked checklist. That's usually a pretty good card if you have an unmarked, unpenciled checklist. Those are always highly desired. So I might keep some of these for my own collection, actually. I'm going to go through and I will sort out these cards based on condition. I don't sell, when I go ahead and sell stuff on Facebook, I don't sell wrinkled cards. So I categorize them out in like 4s and 5s and possibly some 6s. There might be a few 6s in here, or potential 6s in here, but we're going to have to go through that in a little bit. Danny Thompson, I talk about him a lot when I go through vintage, when I find a Danny Thompson card, because him and Harmon Killebrew had a good relationship, and Danny Thompson died at a young age from cancer, and Harmon Killebrew had a long-time golf tournament in Danny Thompson's honor, up until basically the time that Harmon Killebrew was close to passing away. Jim Perry, longtime player with the Twins. You can see some... Oh, I flipped over the wrong card. I was wondering where there was. There's some long-time seasons, many seasons with the Twins. Started off with the Indians, but brother to Gaylord Perry. Jim Perry is another guy that should have had more consideration for the Hall of Fame, because he was a great pitcher for a long time. Paul Splittorff, really good pitcher for the Royals. These traded cards are kind of interesting. I think this is probably one of the first years we had traded cards in the set. Tommy Agee, traded to the Los Angeles Dodgers. I think he was from the Mets. George Mitterwald, he was the Twins, traded him to the Cubs, so this is that traded card. Steve Stone, he went from the Orioles, I think, to the Cubs. Oh, traded by the White Sox to the crosstown to the Cubs. He went from the White Sox to the Cubs. I think he ended up with the Orioles, though. I remember him being with an Oriole. He went on to be a heck of an announcer for a long time, as many of you know, with the Chicago Cubs. Bert Campaneris, a great shortstop. Bert Campaneris, during the World Series run of the Oakland A's, he was a mainstay in that lineup for quite some time. Reggie Cleveland is in there. And that is pretty much it. Gene Mauch, longtime manager, again, a guy that was a Twins manager for some time. Did he make it to the Hall of Fame as a manager, Gene Mauch? He probably should have. He had a hard time. He never went to the World Series as a manager, even though he was a longtime manager with many different clubs. He reminded me a lot of Sparky Anderson in that way, where he was one of the top managers during that era, like Sparky Anderson was. Frank Quilisi. He started out, he played his playing career with the Twins and then ended up being a manager. Bobby Darwin, Glenn Borgman. I remember all these names when I went to see these guys play when I was a kid. There's Game 3 of the World Series. Oakland versus the Mets, 3-2. The Oakland A's won. I think they might have swept that year, actually. And Steve Rogers was a good pitcher for a long time with the Expos. It's still funny seeing the Montreal Expos cards. I hear Montreal might get an expansion team. That would be actually kind of cool. I think Canada could definitely use another team, even though it failed in Montreal the first time, and they ended up being the Nationals, which you guys know as the Nationals now, was the Montreal Expos. Bob Watson. There's a nice card. Reggie Jackson and Willie Stargell, 2 Hall of Famers there. That's a pretty cool card. On the batting leaders card, that's worth a sale for sure. Seems to me I saw another decent one. Rookie stars, anybody in here? Frank Tanana, probably the best player on this card. He was a pitcher. Him and Nolan Ryan were a big-time 1-2 punch for the Angels when Nolan Ryan went there. Billy Williams, there you go. There's a Hall of Famer. I think we're getting some decent Hall of Famers now. Badly cut, though. Look how bad. I wouldn't even call that 1% over here on the left side. Probably like 99.5 to 0.5 on the left-hand side on the Billy Williams card. Luis Aparicio. Hall of Famer Luis Aparicio. 80-20 maybe. Burt Blyleven, another Hall of Famer. Burt Blyleven, when he was with the Twins. He went on to pitch many years with the Pirates as well. Kind of bounced around, pitched for Cleveland. Had a great curveball. Probably had one of the better curveballs. Top 5 curveballs probably of all time. Frank White, rookie infielder card. That's kind of cool. Another rookie card, Bake McBride and Brian Downing are in here too. Long time. But hey, there's Harmon. There's Harmon. I already have the 74, but I might have to compare this 74 to my 74 I have in my collection and maybe swap them out. Well, this is my collection, so these are my cards there, anybody else's cards. But I'll have to see if my 74 is better than this one, and maybe I'll have to move that one into my collection. Dave Parker. Look how badly miscut that thing is. Holy cow. Brutal. That is awful. There's not even an edge over here on the right-hand side. It's all over here on the left. That's about as bad miscut. Random 1976. 1976 Jim Catfish Hunter card. And another Billy Williams. Is this one better than the other Billy Williams? So 2 Billy Williams cards in here. I'm going to do a quick comparison to see how miscut. Well, this one's a lot better than this one. This one in the sleeve is a lot better than this one right here. Yeah, this one's a lot better. This one is like 80-20 rather than only 99.5.5. So this one is definitely a much better card. So there we go, guys. That is what we got. Just so you guys know, when I'm going through cards like this, they are all for sale. So if you guys are interested in any of these cards as I go through them, definitely let me know, because I'd be more than happy to sell them for you, or sell them to you, I'm sorry. And normally I just sell them on the vintage card site on Facebook. I did a video a long time ago talking about selling cards on Facebook. I'm probably going to do a refresher course on selling cards on Facebook. I haven't been as active as I used to be with it when I was doing a lot of consignment work. I did buy all these cards from the people that I sold the cards for. But anyways, like I said, if you guys are interested in these cards, definitely let me know. I'd be glad to go ahead and sell them to you for a pretty decent price, for sure. Especially if you're a subscriber. I want to make sure I take care of you guys as best I can. So that is what we got on these 1973 cards. Let me know down in the comment section what you think of the 74s. Let me know down in the comment section what you think of these 74 cards, what you think of 1974 Topps in general. And as I said, I'm considering moving on and collecting the 74s or the 72s. Might actually go with the 72s. Anyways, guys, if you're new to the channel, hit that like, subscribe. Greatly appreciate that. And thanks to all my OG subscribers for your continued support. We got some great content coming up in the coming weeks, so definitely check back frequently. And we also have the giveaway going on right now too, so check out that video and get yourself entered into the giveaway for a blaster box of either Chrome or Update or some sort of a blaster box. So definitely do that. So that is finally all I got for you as I flop around and dump all these cards. Be safe out there, guys, and happy collecting. We'll talk to you guys later.